Hollywood Brown had himself quite the day at Mandatory Minicamp, and he said the Chiefs are not only allowing him to play in the offense this year, but to be a weapon, utilizing his full potential, and that's only one reason of many as to why this really could be the Chiefs' most dangerous offense yet. So I've got to talk about that, Chris Jones praising owner Clark Hunt, Jared Wiley continuing to shine, and much more. But first, how about those? All right, Mandatory Minicamp is now essentially over. Day 2's practice featured another media look by beat reporters, and we heard from the CEO of Sack Nation, Chris Jones, along with wideouts Hollywood Brown and Justin Watson. Tomorrow is a conditioning test not open to the media, though I do believe a couple people are going to speak to the media after that, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, after missing yesterday's practice, kicker Harrison Butker did indeed return and could be seen splitting kicking duties with Justin Reed. He was really the only player missing that was a surprise yesterday, with the 3 missing, yesterday at least, being left guard Joe Toney, defensive end BJ Thompson, and then kicker Harrison Butker. Joe Toney is still recovering from that torn pec that he sustained in the playoffs, and then BJ Thompson is at home recovering after being released recently from the hospital. I sure hope they get to the bottom of whatever happened to BJ, because a seizure in the middle of a team meeting followed by cardiac arrest is a pretty scary situation. Anyway, both Joe Toney and BJ Thompson were not a surprise when they were reported missing. Butker was more the surprise of the 3, with some surmising, hey, this is a contract year, could he be holding out? But we later found out that he wasn't missing due to any weird contract holdout situation, but he was sick. Anyway, he returned, so he's not sick now, and that meant only Toney and BJ Thompson were missing today from what I understand. Then, the same 3 players were present but not practicing, and those were defensive tackle Derek Nottie, defensive end Charles Omenihu, and wide receiver Xavier Worthy. Derek Nottie's injury, from what I understand, is still not known to the public, but he's been held out for a while now. Omenihu is no surprise as he's working back from that ACL surgery, and then, while Xavier Worthy was once again held out of practice, I did find some optimistic news here about him. Harold Kuntz of Fox 4 said that while Worthy has basically been held out of almost all of OTAs and Mandatory Minicamp, he told beat reporters himself that he should be good to go for training camp, which is great news. I mean, I would definitely start to sweat a little bit if another month plus off wasn't enough to be ready by training camp, but still, it looks like Worthy is going to be good to go, and I'm glad to see it. Another player held out from practice was linebacker Leo Chenal, with PJ Green noting that he hasn't gone through drills the entire offseason, at least during the allowed media looks, but instead has been taking mental reps at practice, and whatever is going on, hopefully it's nothing too crazy, and he is good to go come training camp. Another player that's been limited is cornerback Jalen Watson, who I actually forgot until I looked it up again that he had labrum surgery on his shoulder. He had that repaired back on March 6th. So that makes sense why he's out there, not yet a full go. And honestly, we may not see him a full go come training camp either, as those repairs do take some time to recover and heal from. Trust me, I've had 2 in my left shoulder. Other than that, everyone practiced, and here were a few of the standouts per beat reporters in attendance. Matt McMullen, chief senior reporter, noted that Hollywood Brown caught a deep TD pass from Mahomes during teams, which is awesome to hear considering they were very close on a couple of deep connects yesterday, but reportedly missed. Pete Sweeney gave Hollywood Brown the offensive player of the day, noting that Mahomes threw a perfect connect. So a great throw by Mahomes, great route by Hollywood, back shoulder touchdown over Trent McDuffie, of all people, during sevens, and connected again on that deep TD shot, and it was revealed to be Chamari Connor in coverage. More on Hollywood Brown later, because I am very excited about him this season. Then cornerback Joshua Williams had a pass breakup during team red zone drills, and tight end Jared Wiley, who I talked about yesterday, had yet another strong day with several grabs, according to Matt McMullen, and Pete Sweeney almost gave him offensive player of the day, noting that Wiley caught 6 passes on the day, including 3 scores, with 2 of those being in the red zone. This is great news, man, that Wiley is excelling so early, and hopefully that continues once the pads come on come training camp. Sweeney also noted that Joshua Williams was the defensive player of the day. Matt McMullen noted he had that pass breakup. And speaking of the DB room, I saw a clip of Brian Cook out there moving, and can confirm that he does indeed look 100% ready to go for the season, which is an incredible sign considering the severity of that ankle injury he sustained last year. And sticking with the defensive side of the ball, the CEO of Sack Nation spoke with the media today, and boy, did he have some quotes? He wants 20 or more sacks this year, saying that it's going to take everything in order for that to happen, from God to luck to even some unselfish teammates. And speaking of Chris's teammates, he's glad that so many of his teammates were able to return this year, specifically on the defensive line. Mike Dana, Turk Wharton, Noddy, then of course Aminihu's going to return, and he himself signed that huge deal this offseason. Chris then had a savage message for anyone who thinks Clark Hunt is a bad owner.
Hey man, they graded my owner at F, and I got 2 middle fingers for them. He had A+ in my book.
Well, he might get fined for that one, but it was pretty funny to say the least. I mean, yeah, Chris Jones has to be very, very, very happy with Clark Hunt. I mean, Hunt made this man the highest paid defensive tackle in the entire NFL. However, Chris Jones also noted that Clark extended Andy Reid, Brett Veach, and Coach Spags, and brought back Joe Cullen as well. These are high priority moves to help the team continue to remain successful, and he thanks the Hunt family for that. And honestly, I agree with him here, especially about retaining key pieces of the staff. A lot of teams have a bunch of turnover from one season to the next, and that makes sustained success even more difficult. But when you keep together the key guys on staff that make everything go round, it's only going to help chase that three-peat. Anyway, Chris is definitely glad to be back. I don't know what I'm doing, and working with his teammates, saying OTAs is a great time to build chemistry early on, which is something he didn't really do last season during his contract holdout. However, there's no contract issues with him this go-round, obviously, and he has been around during OTAs this time. He did say one drawback for this offseason compared to last is he's going to be sleeping in a dorm at training camp rather than his own bed, but it's all good at the end of the day because he's glad to be here with his team and teammates. And speaking of teammates, Chris Jones was asked about his thoughts on retirement. Like, does that ever come up in his mind, considering the fact that Travis Kelce is only a few years older, yet may only be playing a couple more years? And Chris's answer to that, once again, was classic CEO of Sack Nation style.
I don't even want my mind to even go that far to the R word. But Trav, he's f***ing pretty old. All right? I'm just playing, Trav. I love you.
He's effing pretty old indeed, Chris, at least in football years. Next up, let's spend some time talking about the wide receiver room, but not before I plug my wonderful, delicious coffee of Benchwarmer Brew. The HBTC blend is a wonderful medium roast with origin notes of Mexico and Ethiopia. And if you don't believe me, just believe David Howe, who said, in fact, I really liked HBTC blend a lot. I'm not a coffee connoisseur, but I thought it tasted better than most. Good job, Cole. Well, thank you so much for the support. And to get your own coffee, try it out for yourself. Just go to coffee.hbtchiefs.com or click the link in the description down below. All right, let's get to the wide receiver room. Rashee Rice had a standout day yesterday with the Chiefs media team dropping a couple of clips of him catching some passes from Mahomes, one of those being a deep pass down the left sideline. Hollywood Brown also spoke with the media today, saying he's gotten close with Rashee as a lot of the receivers hang out and train together outside of practice, and the speed in this offense is going to be a lot of fun. More on Hollywood in a bit, but first, the wide receiver room has so much speed now that Justin Watson no longer puts himself up there in the fastest receiver convo like he did the last couple of years. He said Hollywood or Worthy takes the cake there, as they are really freaking fast, basically is what he said. He noted the wideout room has a good mix of new faces and returning vets. They've been finding their identity for this year, and Justin said it's good to have Worthy and Hollywood here now and is excited to get Nico Remigio back after his injury, which I found worth noting because Justin Watson brought up Nico Remigio unprompted, so the room has a blazing amount of speed now, and defenses will have no choice but to back up. And with the ring ceremony happening tomorrow, Watson said that's going to be the last time anyone is going to think about last year's Super Bowl win. It's a new year with new faces, and nobody cares that KC won it all last year. In fact, the only thing that's going to do is force opponents to give them their best shot each and every week. That's why the focus is on what lies ahead rather than what they've accomplished in the past.
I think it's a Hank Aaron quote that I really like. He said, yesterday's home runs don't win today's games.
The wideout room learned a lot last year in the midst of their struggles, and that's why they are focusing early on with the littlest of details. Someone who's been working on the details as quickly as possible is the new veteran wideout Hollywood Brown. He said that building with Mahomes has been good, with improvements definitely taking place since they worked together in Texas. There's more trust there already, with more to come as they continue working. He's excited to be here and for the opportunity to contribute in this offense, noting they are allowing him not only to play, but to be a weapon. And when asked to elaborate on that, what he means on being a weapon, Hollywood said this.
Guys look at me and they think, oh, he only could do this or he only could do that. Coach Reed, he's put me in positions to do a lot of things.
And this further confirms what Mahomes and Andy Reid said earlier this offseason when they didn't just simply label Hollywood as a deep threat. They said he's a great route runner as well, and I can only imagine the success he's going to have in KC's offense this year as they move him all around the field, especially when you consider the fact you have Travis Kelce to worry about in the middle, you have Xavier Worthy frightening everyone with a legitimate deep threat, Isaiah Pacheco is no slouch, you got to worry about him there in the backfield. Then there's also the yak master, Rashee Rice, to worry about once he returns from the suspension that will most likely be incoming. Either way, this retooled Chiefs offense is showing promise already, and I can't wait to see the pads come on come training camp and see some real route running out there against the defense. Anyway, that's all for day 2's recap of Mandatory Minicamp. More players, I believe, are slated to speak tomorrow, so I'll definitely be back with another video. And until next time, let's go. Let's freaking go. How about those?